Before I was born, two grandparents had already kicked the dust. I'm born, 2 years later, mother commits suicide, hung herself in our laundry room. My father, during all of that time, rallied his entire life around raising me. I just worshipped him. I worshipped the ground he walked on. During my entire freshman year of high school, he was fighting off acute leukemia. And he almost did. Went into remission, and then after that, just fatal brain hemorrhage, and he was more or less brain dead. So I said, pull the plug. And they asked me, I was 14 years old. They asked me to make that call because I was his designated next of kin. There wasn't sadness, there wasn't anger, there wasn't any particular feeling of loss. There was just numbness. It was as if my entire being was just trying to be invisible or something. I can't even really describe it. It just kind of washed over me in that moment. So that left me pretty much no one except for a close family friend come 1,000 miles to come live with Kay because she says, I'll take him. That was an ordeal for her because she was dealing with emotionally and psychologically handicapped child, teenager even. She hit her limit and she decided it was in both of our best interests to cut off her guardianship, and I went into foster care at the age of 17. We grew up in these situations where we're constantly under threat, and so what do you do? What does any living thing do when it's under threat? Well, it defends itself. It develops, these various defense mechanisms, and we just had spikes all over us that had not, after years and years, disengaged because we constantly felt that we were under threat. That's what all those years of continuous condensed trauma will do to you. So I come into Immerse, and I don't even know what I've got. You could say I didn't even know what I had until I lost it. Ended up moving out to this ramshackle little hut in the middle of Bumdiddle, Arkansas. Primary exports, shotguns and racism. And no insulation either. The place was a mess, and it was about a year of that time was spent without any real money and just kind of scraping by on lunch meat and Kool-Aid. And this was part of the plan. I had gone out of Immerse's range of ability to help me. And the only person that came out there a lot of times was David Neal because he had the time. 6 hours travel, 3 hours in town. He would dedicate 9 hours, just about every week almost, to come pick me up and just take me somewhere so I could not go completely insane. Which ironically demonstrates that he is completely insane. That was the long arm of Immerse, still showing me that I had people who cared about me despite the fact that I had, cussed them out on multiple occasions, told them, I don't need you. Yeah, that's what saved me. I have borderline personality disorder, and one of the symptoms of that is going to be a heightened chance of suicidal tendencies, suicidal thoughts and ideations, and I'd thought a lot about it. I'd made up a lot of plans and everything like that, and I think something clicked for me finally. That I was thinking about Immerse and everything that they'd, back then when I thought, pester me about how much they cared about me and how much they didn't want, they were never going to let me go. And I couldn't understand it because I had zero concept of any self-worth. I didn't like them, constantly being in my life, getting in my way, still teenager brain. But I did trust them. They'd proven it to me. It was thoroughly established. I believed in Immerse more than I believed in myself. And I used that. I realized I could use that. I could use my faith in them and in their belief in me. I could believe in the people believing in me long enough to believe in myself. And it worked. And it kept me away from some things that would have been horrible if they had happened. During that time, it was sort of a reforging process. I had to completely rebuild my worldview, my personality, and everything else from the ground up. I had to stop whining, had to stop playing the victim, had to stop demanding that people make things easier for me. Accountability is the prerequisite for everything else in life. You want to take control of your life, you have to start doing some hard things like owning up to your BS. It was amazing when, having gone through all of that, having, reached that precipice of starvation and just isolation. That made things like getting a job and going to college seem a lot easier by comparison. I got back in contact with Immerse. I started really reconnecting with them, and goodness, they were just happy to hear from me. Jake had invited me to the annual retreat out in Castle Bluff, and I had a good time. I did so many things that I would never have done otherwise. I would have never bothered to do. I would have taken for granted because, you know, why would I? I've got video games and loneliness. I came up to Jake and I asked, how do you feel about, like, do you think I've changed? Do you think I'm different now? And he said that it was just profound. It was just complete and total 180. And to me, that was all the confirmation I needed to know that, yes, it's time to get this started in earnest. It's time for me to start my life over. And I decided that I really liked the look of Pulaski Tech. They were affordable. I figured I could get a scholarship for them, and I did. I actually study. Holy crap. It's an amazing thing. I can study and do homework and get good grades because I'm actually trying, because I feel like it's worth it to apply that effort. For every year that you spend going through seemingly irreversible emotional trauma, you have to spend an equal amount of time healing from that trauma. That means that Immerse is prepared to get you started on 10, 15, 18, 20 years or more of healing. Who can you say is willing to go that far to get to be with you for as long as it takes? I love every single one of them. But yes, they're insane. There is no getting around this. Immerse is, in general, a bunch of genuinely good, rare, skilled, crazy people. I think the last time I was this normal, I had just exited the womb. That's it. Yeah, I'm getting ready to, I think, see some good things in my life. Seen some already. So, I love you. All of you. You're insane. Please keep doing what you're doing.